This class has made me notice my typical writing form and taught me writing is a lot deeper than just a bunch of words thrown together. Since COVID hit and quarantine went into effect, writing wasn't a prominent part of my life, so I stopped enjoying it like I used to. At the beginning of the semester, I wasn't thrilled about the writing I would have to do, but now I've learned that writing is deeper and there for people to convey their emotions or thoughts into words. And writing includes any type of forms like poems, notes, lists, and not just essays. Now, at the end of the semester, I've noticed what type of writer I was. One, I was more general instead of specific. And two, I struggled with putting my thoughts into words. Overall, I assigned myself an A. Besides me learning more about writing and about my writings, I also met the requirements of getting an A. First, my writings were general and not specific. For example, in Project 2, for my thick description during our meeting, I was told my statements were general and I didn't understand at first. After doing Project 4 and really diving into the different forms of writing and having the mindset of trying to appeal to a certain audience who wants to know more information about my certain topic, I realized being more specific is necessary. In the second project, I noticed I basically listed what my family did the game night instead of diving deeper in the bonding experience or being more descriptive, which was a major part of the project. By me being more specific, it gives the reader a deeper understanding of the message or emotion I'm trying to convey, and it helps the reader understand the writing better and give them a more visual representation of the text. I believe the issue of why my writings were more general came from me struggling with conveying my thoughts into words in my writings. When I was younger, every thought I had, I would write it down, but over the years of having to summarize and shorten my thoughts to general statements or to fit word limits for assignments, I've become wired to only choosing or writing certain things from my thoughts. But the activities we had to do in class where we just had to write whatever came to mind really helped me open up. In Project 1, my first 7 activities or writings, I struggled a lot of trying to fill the page because it felt my mind had a barrier that was holding my words back. But once I reached the 10th activity, I was able to let my thoughts flow more freely, definitely with the activity where we had to sit in silence for 10 minutes and write whatever we heard and what came to mind. In Project 4, I had so much I wanted to write, but the information had to fit in the model of the pre-existing text. I've learned there are different places where I need to let all my thoughts flow out and when I need to rein them in, just like when to be more general than specific. When free writing or telling stories or giving information, I've learned it's better to be more specific and to not hold back. But when I have a word limit, I should try to be general with specific elements and rein in my thoughts just a bit. One thing I remember hearing you say in class was there is no bad writing, at least in a logical sense. And I'm sure this is what helped me with those two issues I've talked about. Thinking of the concepts we've learned about also helped me with my writings. For example, how I organize my writings so they are easier to get my point across and make it easier for the reader to understand. Like how I organized Project 4 into different sections with the different topics, which included paragraphs and also steps. For the first section where I gave more of background information about the word, I went into examples for the second section, and then at the end, I went into the steps. For the requirements, I have attended every class section except for the one where I had an exam. I've maintained a B- on all my projects, and I've done the activities. The activities were a nice way to see how my writings differed from other classmates when we were in groups. It was fun to also converse and compare our different writings or try to come up with a writing together. Like when we had to come up with information to define the word blurbot. That was a fun word. Overall, this class was very helpful for me to understand how I could improve my writings. Learning that, remembering to be rhetoric, knowing who the audience is, having a purpose, being organized, and knowing when to be specific or general and other concepts we've talked about in this class can help me in the future with writings I have. These concepts can be great for writing, but I can also use them when just communicating with people, just daily conversations or giving a speech. With all the writings we've had to do in class, it has got me back into that writing spirit and makes me want to improve my writings even more.